Sometimes, as is true of the story, I find a jackpot at garage sales. The weather is warming up and garage sale season is in full swing, but when I took home a milk crate full of old jazz and blues LPs, I never expected sheer terror to come of it. I handpicked them all: Miles Davis, Sonny Rollins, and Art Tatum. As I thumbed through the warped old sleeves, I found one that I didn't remember buying. The sleeve was black with no title or artist name. Water damage had caused it to get that splotchy, mottled look that old cardboard gets. I slid the record out of the sleeve and found the vinyl itself in similarly poor condition. Dust was caked on its black face, and the grooves were worn deep. The sticker at the center of the record was scratched away, revealing no clues to identify it. It was nearing bedtime, so I figured I would slap on the turntable and give it a spin before I hit the sack. I pulled the arm until I heard a click and the old record began to spin. When I dropped the needle on the outer rim, I was greeted by the nostalgia-inducing static that I had grown so fond of. I expected more jazz, but what came of the speaker Sheila, I met her at the music festival. At first I just played to hook up with her. I didn't know at the time I was going to drag her to the hair. I would drag her by the hair out to the woods and bash her skull in with a rock. That one was a surprise, even to me. Not that I didn't enjoy it. The record was skipping again. Then the controller switched to 45 RPMs. Enjoy it. The speaker began to laugh. It was a deep, throaty laugh that seemed to go on so long that I didn't know whether the vinyl was skipping or the man was savoring the chuckle. I was trembling uncontrollably. What twisted psychopath had recorded this? Why was it tucked in the milk crate I picked up at the garage sale? Should I call the police? How am I going to call 911 when I can't even get out of bed? Now you. Yeah. You. I've been playing yours for a while now. The speaker was talking to someone else who had remained silent through the whole tirade. I'd been watching your house for weeks. That back window you always leave unlocked. You should really put a nail in it. Even if you lock it, a screwdriver will do the trick though. The record sped up to 45 RPMs, and then I'll have a screwdriver in my hand as the way to go. The air in my room became inextricably chilled. I shivered. Despite the heavy comforter I was strapped under, my fingertips were tingling. Funny thing is, the speed slowed down again just as the record began to skip. Funny thing is, you don't even realize I'm talking to you. You know how easy it is to follow someone home. The words he spoke next terrified me so thoroughly that I jolted out of my paralysis and flailed my way up off the mattress, clawing the blankets off my body. Home from a garage sale. The turntable clicked and the record stopped spinning as the recording came to an end. Alrighty, so the next one is called Balloons. A couple days ago, I posted, that's the intro to the story. Okay, here we go. When I was 5 years old, I went to an elementary school that, from what I've come to understand, was really adamant about the importance of learning through activity. It was part of a new program designed to allow children to rise at their own pace, and to facilitate this, the school encouraged teachers to come up with really inventive lesson plans. Each teacher was given the latitude to create his or her own themes which would run for the duration of the grade, and all the lessons in math, reading, etc. would be designed in the spirit of the theme. Those themes were called groups. There was the space group, a sea group, an earth group, and the group I was in, community. In kindergarten in this country, you don't learn much except how to tie your shoes and how to share, so most of it isn't very memorable. I can remember only two things very clearly. I was the best at writing my name the right way, and the balloon project, which was really the hallmark of the community group, since it was a pretty clever way to show how community functioned at a really basic level. You've probably heard of this activity. On one Friday, I remember it being Friday because I was excited about the project and being the end of the week. Towards the beginning of the year, we walked into the classroom in the morning and saw that there was a fully inflated balloon tied off with a string taped to each of our desks. Sitting on each of our desks was a marker, a pen, a piece of paper, and an envelope. The project was to write a note on the paper, put it in the envelope, attach it to the balloon, which we could draw a picture if we wanted. Most of the kids started fighting over the balloons because they wanted different colors, but I started on my note, which I had thought a lot about. All the notes had to follow a loose structure, but we were allowed to be creative within those boundaries. My note was other people. It seemed like a fun idea. Over the next couple weeks, the letters started to roll in. Most came with pictures of different landmarks, and each time a letter would come in, the teacher would pin the picture on a big wall map we had put up showing where the letter had come from and how far the balloon had traveled. It was a really smart idea because we actually looked forward to coming to school to see if we had gotten our letter. For the duration of the year, we had one day per week where we could write back to our pen pal or another student's pen pal in case our letter hadn't come in yet. Mine was one of the last to arrive. When I came into the classroom, I looked at my desk and once again didn't see any letter waiting for me. But as I sat down, the teacher approached me and handed me an envelope. I must have looked so excited because as soon as I was about to open it, she put her hand on mine and stopped me and said, "Please don't be upset." I didn't understand what she had meant. Why would she be upset now, or why would I be upset now that my letter had come? Initially, I was mystified that she would even know what was in the envelope. But now I realize that of course the teachers had screened the contents to make sure there was nothing obscene, but all the same, how could I be disappointed? When I opened the envelope, I understood. There was no letter. The only thing in the envelope was a Polaroid, but I couldn't really make out what it was. It looked like a patch of desert, but it was too blurry to decipher. It appeared as the camera had been moved while the picture was being taken. There was no return address, so I couldn't even write back if I wanted to. I was crushed. The school year pressed on, and the letters had stopped coming for nearly all the other students. After all, you can only continue a written correspondence with the kindergartner for so long. Everyone, including myself, had lost interest in the letters almost completely. Then, I got another envelope. My excitement was rejuvenated, and I reveled in the fact that I was still getting a letter when most of the other pen pals had abandoned their involvement. It made sense that I received another delivery. There had been nothing but a blurry picture in the first one, so this was probably to make up for that. But again, there was no letter at all, just another picture. This one was more distinguishable, but I still didn't understand it. The photograph was angled way up, catching the top corner of a building, and the rest of the image was distorted by a lens flare from the sun. Because the balloons didn't travel very far, and because they were all launched on the same day, the board became a bit cluttered, and so the policy for the students still exchanging letters became that they could take the photographs home. My best friend Josh had the second highest number of pictures taken home by the end of the year. His pen pal was really cooperative and sent him pictures from all around the neighboring city. Josh took home, I think, 4 pictures. I took home nearly 50. The envelopes were all opened by the teacher, but after a while I stopped even looking at the pictures. However, I saved them in one of my drawers that housed my collection of rocks, baseball cards, comic book cards, Marvel metal cards, and little miniature baseball batting helmets that I get out of a vending machine at Winn-Dixie after T-ball games. With the school year over, my attention turned to other things. My mom had gotten me a small snow cone machine for Christmas that year, and Josh really had coveted it, so much that his parents bought him a slightly nicer one for his birthday, which was toward the end of the school year. That summer, we had the idea that we would set up a snow cone stand to make money. We thought we'd make a fortune selling snow cones at $1. Josh lived in a different neighborhood, but we eventually decided that my neighborhood would be a lot better because there were a lot of people who cared for their lawns. The yards in my neighborhood were slightly bigger. We did this for 5 weekends in a row until my mom told us that we had to stop, and I've only recently come to understand why she did that. On the 5th weekend, Josh and I were counting our money. Because we both had a machine, we each had a separate stack of money that we put together into one stack, and then we split it evenly. We had made a total of $16, and as Josh was a robot because this sounds weird. Before we left, he got a little serious and looked me right in the eyes and said, "You heard it too, didn't you? It sounded like a robot. You heard it too, right?" I had heard it, and since it sounded mechanical, I agreed that it was probably a robot. It's only now that I understand what we heard. When we got back, Josh's mom was waiting for him at the kitchen table with my mom. Josh told his mom about the robot. Our moms laughed, and Josh went home. My mom and I ate dinner. Then I went to bed. I didn't stay in bed for long before I crept out and decided that, due to the day's events, I would revisit the envelope since now the whole affair seemed much more interesting. I took the first envelope and set it on the floor and set the blurry desert Polaroid on top. I laid the second envelope right next to it and placed the oddly angled Polaroid of a building's top corner on top, and did this with each picture until they formed a grid that was about 5 by 10. I was always taught to be careful with things that I was collecting, even if I wasn't sure they were valuable. I noticed that the pictures gradually became more decipherable. There was a tree with a bird on it, a speed limit sign, a power line, a group of people walking into some building. And then I saw something that vexed me so powerfully that I can now, as I write this, distinctly remember feeling dizzy and capable of only a single repeating thought. Why am I in this picture? In this photograph of the group of people entering the building, I saw myself holding hands with my mother at the very back of a crowd. We were at the edge of the photo, but it was undeniably us. As my eyes swam over the sea of Polaroids, I became increasingly anxious. It was a really odd feeling. It wasn't fear. It was the feeling you get when you're in trouble. I'm not sure why I was flooded with that feeling, but when I sat there floundering in this distinct sense that I'd done something wrong, and this feeling only intensified as I looked on at the rest of the photos after that one that had so powerfully struck me. I was in every single photo. None of them were close shots. None of them were only of me, but I was in every single one of them. Off to the side, in the back, bottom of the frame. Some of them only had the tiniest part of my face captured at the very edge of the photo, but nevertheless, I was there. I was always there. I didn't know what to do. Your mind works in funny ways as a kid, but there was this large part of me that was afraid of getting in trouble simply for stooping up. Since I already had the looming feeling of having done something wrong, I decided that I would wait until tomorrow. The next day, my mom was off work and spent most of the morning cleaning up around the house. I watched cartoons, I imagine, and waited until I thought it was a good time to show her the Polaroids. When she went out to get the mail, I grabbed a couple of the pictures and put them on the table in front of me as I sat waiting for her to come back in. When returned, she was already opening the mail and threw some junk mail into the trash can. Then I said, "Mom, can you come here for a sec? I have some pictures. Just give me a minute, honey. I need to mark these on the calendar." After a minute or two, she came and stood behind me and asked what I needed. I could hear her shuffling with the mail behind me, but I just looked at the Polaroids and told her about them. As I explained more and pointed the pictures, the frequent ahs and okays decreased, and she was suddenly completely quiet and only making little noise with the mail. The next noise I heard from her sounded as if she were trying to catch her breath in a room that had no air left in it. At last, her struggling gasps were conquered, and she simply dropped the remaining mail on the table and ran to the kitchen to get the phone. "Mom, I'm sorry. I didn't know about these. Don't be mad at me." With the phone pressed to her ear, she was walking/running back and forth and shouting into it. I nervously fiddled with the mail sitting next to the Polaroids. The top envelope had something sticking out of it. I thoughtlessly and anxiously pulled on it until it came out. It was another Polaroid. slipped into the stack when she threw the mail down, but when I turned it over and looked at it, I realized I had not seen this one before. To my dismay, it was me, but this one was a much closer shot. I was surrounded by trees and was smiling, but it wasn't just me, I noticed. Josh was there too. This was us from yesterday. I started yelling for my mom, who was still screaming into the phone. I repeatedly yelled for her until she responded with, "What?" And I could only think to ask, "Who are you calling?" "I'm talking with the police, honey." "But why? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do anything." She answered me with the response that I had never understood until I was forced to revisit these events from the earliest years of my life. She grabbed the envelope off the table, and the picture of Josh and I spun it and slid it around, landing next to the other Polaroids in front of me. She held the envelope up to my eyes, but I could only look at her and watch as the color began draining out of her face. With tears welling up in her eyes, she said that she had to call the police because there was no postmark on the envelope. Alrighty. That one always gives me goosebumps. Okay, this next one is called I played a text-based adventure game on the dark web. I can't undo the things I did. I spent a lot of time on Reddit. I'm on a lot of video game subreddits, and in particular ones about text-based games. I'm talking games like Zork. I wasn't alive when Zork came out, but I got really into it in high school. When I made it to college, I took an even deeper dive, playing all the sequels, all the knockoffs, and every shitty game that people had cobbled together and released online. I had to refocus a bit, adding work on top of college courses so I could afford my shoebox apartment, but eventually, while scrolling through the subreddit, I came across a post called Apartment Complex. Not a super promising name, but I was bored and it was free, and the fact that it was hosted on some weird site that I couldn't access from a regular browser appealed to me. It added an element of mystery. So I opened Tor browser, entered the link, and it got me to a profile creation page. Basic stuff. Username, preferred resolution, etc. It didn't ask for any personal info, so I kept on going. The screen went blank, and then a text box opened up. "Welcome to Apartment Complex. You have been assigned your very own apartment complex building to run. But this isn't any apartment building, because the tenants are going to be experiencing some pretty scary ordeals. You get to decide what happens next. Will your tenants survive? Will you accidentally butcher them all? The power is in your hands. Are you ready? Yes or no?" Why not? I figured. I typed in a Y. More text appeared. "Excellent. We'll start you off with an easy Sherry tells him that it's more important that both of them are protected from STDs. She's feeling a little tense. Thad calls her a whore and a tease and throws his clothes back on. Sherry cries as Thad goes to storm out. Unfortunately, Sherry's door won't open. Thad checks and the door is locked, and the door isn't locked, but it refuses to open. Furious, Thad storms back to where Sherry is, still lying on the couch, crying, and begins to scream at her. Would you like to continue making decisions for Sherry or try another tenant? 1 for Sherry or 2 for new tenant. This game was weird and pretty retro, but I also found myself pretty intrigued by Sherry and Thad's story. The clunky stories in these games had a certain charm that made them very engaging. Fuck it, let's keep going. 1, I typed. Interesting choice. Thad continues to scream at Sherry, who can't stop crying. She's afraid he might hit her. Thad hasn't decided if he will or not, but his plans a lot his anger and lack of concern for Sherry as a human being guide his behavior. If things continue as they are, Thad will most likely beat Sherry to the point she will need to be rushed to the emergency room. Should Thad be stopped? Yes or no? Fuck, I mumbled out loud to myself. This got intense. Yes, I typed. Intriguing choice. A ceiling tile falls off. The edge cuts across Thad's jugular. Blood gushes everywhere. He's dead in seconds. What the fuck, I say to myself. This game is whack. The text continued to appear. Sherry is horrified, much of the blood sprayed all over her. She's so scared, and she starts to shut down. Sherry won't be taking any more actions for a while. Choose a tenant. 1, 2, 4, 5, or 6. Damn, I thought. Looks like I'm not gonna finish this game with a decent score. Keep plugging away though. I rolled a die again. 5. I typed it in. Intriguing choice. The tenant in apartment 5 is Clyde. He's 35 and works at the local First State Bank. His hobbies include snowboarding, tennis, recreational murder, 90s sitcoms, and fishing. He's home alone tonight after his girlfriend Alicia texted him and told him she was leaving him for his brother. He bought a gallon of chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream and is working his way through that in the 3rd season of Frasier. He feels the itch to strangle someone. It's been a while and he's trying to kick the habit, but the deep well of emotion seems to be so deep that ice cream alone can't fill it. He's hoping to quench the urge with the TV binge, but just as he's sitting in, he starts to smell gas. Should he investigate? Yes or no? Not investigating would be boring, so of course I typed in a yeah. Why? Intriguing choice. Clyde gets off the couch and follows his nose to the kitchen, where heavy propane smells blasting out of one of his burners. He's familiar enough with gas leaks to know that one spark away from Clyde flambé. Should Clyde leave or keep sucking up the fumes? 1, Clyde leaves, or 2, Clyde stays. Seems weird to release the murdered, I thought, but it would be boring just to gas him to death. I type a 1. Intriguing choice. Clyde exits his apartment and heads down the stairs to the front door. When he makes it to the floor below his, he sees that the stairs are blocked by fallen ceiling tiles. There are stairs on the opposite side of the floor. On the way, he would pass 2 other apartments, which would likely have phones to call the fire department to handle the gas leak. Should he stop at the first apartment? 1, the second apartment? 2, or take the stairs? 3. 1, I typed. Intriguing choice. That was it. No more text. What the hell? I said under my breath. And then there was a knock at my door. I froze. Hey, anyone home? Of Seriously, it's an emergency. I'm pretty sure I heard some noise in here. I need help. On my screen, I saw more text pop up. Should Clyde keep trying the first apartment? 1. Try the next apartment. 2. Or take the stairs on the far end of the floor. 3. As gently as I could, I pressed number 2. The clack of the keys sounded like a gunshot in my head. Whatever, asshole, I know you're home. I hope you enjoy being a piece of shit, Clyde said. Then I heard his footsteps go down the hall. The apartment building I'm in is new and pretty well insulated, but I could faintly hear knocking at the apartment down the hall from me. I know a college girl lived there. Hopefully she isn't home. Wait. College girl? No, it couldn't be. Text started filling up my screen again. Clyde went to the next apartment and knocked on the door. He heard sobbing from inside. When the tenant inside didn't open the door, he tried the knob. It turned, but the door wouldn't budge. It looked like it was misaligned, and with the heat wave, the wood had swollen and jammed the wood in place. Suddenly, I heard a smash from outside. I tore my eyes to look at my front door, but it was solid shut. The sound had come from down the hall. I looked back at my screen. Clyde used his shoulder to slam the door open, and it popped open. He stepped in, calling to whoever was in the apartment. Walking further in, he saw a shocking sight. A man on the ground, his neck slashed open, a ceiling tile on the ground next to him. On the couch, a completely naked young woman, and covering everything, a massive splatter of blood. Clyde grinned. Are you going to help Sherry? Leave your apartment and go to hers, or do nothing while Clyde murders her. 1. This was so messed up. I couldn't just let someone murder my neighbor, even if I barely knew her. But I was terrified. I got up, ran to my kitchen, grabbed the biggest knife I could find, then went to my door. I took 3 deep breaths to steady myself, then I unlocked the door, threw it open, and ran out into the hall. I looked over to see where the other apartment was, and I could see where the door had been broken in. I ran as quietly as I could over there, and when I reached the door, stopped short and stuck my head around the doorframe to see what was going on. Unfortunately, I couldn't see what was happening from where I was, so I crept in as stealthily as I could. The first thing that hit me was the bitter stench of blood. Then I got close enough to see what was happening. Sherry was on the back of the couch. Sherry was on her back on the couch, Clyde leaning over her with his hands around her throat. She was scratching at him, but the blood made everything slick and it looked like her nails were sliding around more than doing damage. I ran up to them and drove my knife straight into Clyde's back. He roared and whirled around. You bastard, he yelled, and dove at me, tackling me to the ground. He started pummeling me with his fists. There was little I could do to stop him. With each blow, I felt myself getting weaker, my vision going darker. And then Clyde screamed. I focused the best I could. Above Clyde, Sherry was raising the knife for another blow. She stabbed Clyde over and over until he collapsed on top of me, and then she stabbed him some more. I screamed at her to stop, to let me up, and eventually, I broke through her terror. She helped me push his body off me. I threw a blanket around Sherry and then called the cops. We spent a lot of time going over our stories with them. I left out the dark web stuff because I didn't want to get in any trouble. Finally, the cops left. Sherry went to go stay with her parents, and I went back to my apartment. When I got back, words were flashing on my screen. really good as the others. And this one is called I Saw Something on the Evening News That I Can't Explain. My work friends and I were out at our favorite pub last night. Not really a fancy place to be, but cheap beer and close enough to home that I don't have to drive. The night started out normally enough. The four of us crammed into a small table off in the corner, mostly talking shop and shitting on our boss. Being this was the middle of the week, there weren't too many other people around, maybe around 8 or 9 others in the whole place. Everybody just keeping to themselves, sort of people you'd expect to see in a pub on a Wednesday. Anyway, from where I'm sitting, I have a pretty good view of the TV behind the bar. Jesse, the bartender, is kind of lazily flipping through the channels and passes our local news channel. There's a brief burst of orange and red on the screen, which I register as fire happening somewhere, which then disappears as Jesse switches over to the next channel. Something about the image looks oddly familiar, though. Hey, Jess, can you switch that back? I call out to her. The news comes back on, and suddenly I recognize the building in the frame. It's my building, and it's burning. Holy shit, I say, loud enough that a few people fall on my case to the television. That's my apartment. The crowd in the bar felt kind of quiet. Everybody's staring up at the screen now. The screen shows a wide shot of the outside of my building. The camera must be set up on the north end of the block because I recognize a lot of the shops on the ground floor. Property management, dry cleaner, convenience mart, etc. The top left corner of the building is aflame. Not a huge fire by any means, but it looks like a few units between the top 4 floors or so have already been engulfed by flames. Jesus, man, one of my coworkers said that sucks. There's an uncomfortable murmur of agreement that passes around the table. I mean, I don't blame them. I wouldn't know what to say in this situation either. Yep, I agree, just as awkwardly. Thankfully, my apartment is only about halfway up and located on the west side of the building. I cross my fingers, hoping my stuff will be okay. The camera cuts to a reporter on the scene. He's standing a little further away, looking at the shops in the background. I can tell he's across the street on the northwest corner of my building. Firefighters are expected on the scene at any moment, he's saying, and hopefully they'll be able to contain this horrible inferno before it spreads any farther. As I was saying before, it's very fortunate that everyone was able to evacuate the building before things got too bad, or who knows what tragic events may have unfolded tonight. He's really laying it on thick, my other coworkers joke. I chuckle a little bit. All things considered, at the moment, it doesn't really seem that bad. But then, a few moments later, hang on, the reporter on TV says, we're getting some updated information. It just seems, hang on one moment while we readjust the camera. The previously locked down camera starts to shift, the angle focusing on an area of the building about halfway up the west side. All the lights on the building are out except for one. I feel a weird, creeping sensation as I start counting the windows from the bottom. 5 up, 2 over. That's my place. I swore I turned that light out, I think, at first. And then I see it. There's a person standing in my window. The camera zoomed out too far to make out any features, but it definitely looks like a man, and it's definitely standing in my apartment. I watch petrified as the camera zooms in closer, the reporter babbling on about the overlooked, ill-fated soul still trapped in the blazing such and such. As the image gets closer, I start to make out more details. The person is dancing or something. I don't really know how to describe it, but he's moving around a lot, and everything he's doing has this bizarre rhythmic quality to it. He starts waving his arms in the air back and forth, and then he's waving them up and clothes exactly like me. It's wearing the exact same clothes I'm wearing right now. Clothes I changed into moments before leaving the apartments earlier. Its face looks almost exactly like mine as well, except for its eyes. Its eyes are far too big for a normal person, and it has this almost comical look of horror on its face. I don't even know how to describe it. Imagine if someone were pretending to look scared, but as a joke. It would have almost seemed funny if the circumstances were different, but instead it was just completely unnerving. No one in the bar is talking now. Everyone is fixed on the TV. The person is still swaying and waving around, beating its hands on the glass or jumping in circles. I almost don't hear the reporter mention the fact the firefighters have rushed through the building are now heading for my floor. Oh God, I think, without really understanding what was happening, please don't go in there. I stare transfixed at the screen. From this angle, you can just barely see out the top of my front door through the window, not too far behind where this creature is flailing around. Right now, it's holding its face in its hand and shaking its head from side to side as if it's saying no. Suddenly, the door behind it bursts open, as presumably the firefighters have entered the apartment. My apartment. The creature stops moving. For a second, I see its expression change. The comical look of horror is gone, replaced by a huge smile filled with enormous, pointed teeth. Then the lights go out. We all just sat there staring at the screen as the camera slowly zoomed out from the now dark window. No one says anything as we all quietly pay our bill and leave. I went directly to my sister's place across town and asked to stay with her. I told her there was a fire in my apartment complex, and that was it. When I tried to find footage from the news online later that night, it seemed they had edited that last part out. I don't know if any of you know what that thing was, but I hope they didn't put out that fire. I hope they let the whole fucking place burn to the ground. Okay. So, now for our last story. This one is called Autopilot. Also, just a quick content warning. This one features like mentions of child abuse. So just keep that in mind if you're sensitive to that topic at all. Here we go. Have you ever forgotten your phone? When did you realize you'd forgotten it? I'm guessing you didn't just smack your forehead and exclaim, "Damn," apropos of nothing. The realization probably didn't dawn on you spontaneously. More likely, you reached for your phone, pulling open your pocket or handbag, and were momentarily confused by it not being there. Then you did a mental restep of that morning's events. Shit. In my case, my phone's alarm woke me up as normal, but I realized the battery is lower than I expected. It was a new phone and it had this annoying habit of leaving applications running that drained the battery overnight, so I put it on to charge while I showered and set it into my bag like normal. It was a momentary slip from the routine, but that was all it took. this is the thing, there's a level of your brain that just deals with routine so that the rest of your brain can think about other things. Think about it. Think about your last commute. What do you actually remember? Little, if anything, probably. Most common journeys blur into one, and recalling anyone in particular is scientifically proven to be difficult. Do something often enough and it just becomes routine. Keep doing it and it stops being processed by the thinking bit of the brain and gets relegated to a part of the brain being dedicated to dealing with routine. Your brain keeps doing it without you thinking about it. Soon you think about your route to work as much as you think about keeping your legs moving while you walk. As in, not at all. Most people call it autopilot, but there's danger there. If you have a break in your routine, your ability to remember and account for the break is only as good as your ability to stop your brain going into routine mode. My ability to remember my phone being on the counter is only as reliable as my ability to stop my brain entering morning routine mode, which would dictate that my phone is actually in my bag. But I didn't stop my brain entering routine mode. I got in the shower as normal. Routine started. Exception forgotten. Autopilot engaged. My brain was back in the routine. I showered, I shaved, the radio forecasted amazing weather. I gave Emily her breakfast and loaded her into the car. She was so adorable that morning. She complained about the bad sun in the morning blinding her, saying it stopped her having a little sleep on the way to the nursery, and left. That was the routine. It didn't matter that my phone was on the counter charging silently. My brain was in the routine, and in the routine my phone was in my bag. This is why I forgot my phone. Not clumsiness, not negligence, nothing more than my brain entering routine mode, overriding the exception. Autopilot engaged. I left for work. It's a swelteringly hot day already. The bad sun had been burning since before my traitorously absent phone woke me. The steering wheel was burning hot to the touch when I sat down. I think I heard Emily shift over behind my driver's seat to get out of the glare. But I got to work, submitted the report, attended the morning meeting. It's not until I took a quick coffee break and reached for my phone that the illusion shattered. I did a mental restart. I remembered the dying battery. I remembered putting it on to charge. I remembered leaving it there. My phone was on the counter. Autopilot disengaged. Again, therein lies the danger. Until you have that moment, the moment you reach for your phone and shatter the illusion, that part of the brain is still in routine mode. It has no reason to question the facts of the routine. That's why it's a routine. Attrition of repetition. It's not as if anyone could say, "Why didn't you remember your phone? Didn't it occur to you? How could you forget? You must be negligent." This is to miss the point. My brain was telling me the routine was completed as normal, despite the fact that it wasn't. It wasn't that I forgot my phone. According to my brain, according to the routine, my phone was in my bag. Why would I think to question it? Why would I check? Why would I suddenly remember out of nowhere that my phone was on the counter? My brain was wired to the routine. On the counter was that my phone was in the bag. The day continued to bake. The morning haze gave way to the relentless fever of heat in the afternoon. Tarmac bubbled. The direct beams of heat threatened to crack the pavement. People swapped coffees for iced smoothies. Jackets were discarded. Sleeves were rolled up. Ties loosened. Brows mopped. The park slowly filled with sunbathers and barbecues. Window frames threatened to warp. The thermometer continued to swell. Thank fuck the offices were air conditioned. But as ever, the furnace of the day gave way to a cooler evening. Another day, another $1. Still cursing myself for forgetting my phone, I drove home. The day's heat had baked the inside of the car, releasing a horrible smell from somewhere. When I arrived on the driveway, the stones crunching comfortably under my tires, my wife greeted me at the door. Where's Emily? Fuck. As if the phone wasn't bad enough after everything I'd left Emily at the fucking nursery after all. I immediately sped back to the nursery. I got to the door and started practicing my excuses, wondering vainly if I could charm my way out of a late fee. I saw a piece of paper stuck to the door. Due to vandalism overnight, please use side door today only. Overnight? What? The door was fine this morning. I froze. My knees shook. Vandals had changed the routine. My phone was on the counter. I hadn't been here this morning. My phone was on the counter. I'd driven past because I was drinking my coffee. I'd not dropped off Emily. My phone was on the counter. She moved her seat. I hadn't seen her in the mirror. My phone was on the counter. She'd fallen asleep out of the bad sun. She didn't speak when I drove past her nursery. My phone was on the counter. She changed the routine. My phone was on the counter. She changed the routine and I'd forgotten to drop her off. My phone was on the counter. 9 hours. That car, the baking sun, no air, no water, no power, no help. That heat. A steering wheel too hot to touch. That smell. I walked to the car door, numb, shocked. I opened the door. My phone was on the counter and my daughter was dead. Autopilot disengaged. Alrighty. That was the